Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Alek. Alek is my very first guest from Luxembourg. So, let's see what Alek has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Alek, yes.
Okay Alek, how are you?
I'm good. It's about, what time is it? 3 o'clock here in Luxembourg.
Amazing. Thanks so much for taking the time to do the interview with me, to be part of the show. By the way, I love the dog behind you. There's a dog on the frame.
That's Loki.
Oh.
Loki, yeah. He was about 8 weeks there, and he's now 3.5.
Right, amazing. Okay, Alek, just before we start the game, so you said you're from Luxembourg. Where's about?
What do you mean? Where in Luxembourg I'm from?
Yeah.
Luxembourg City. It's a very small country, yeah?
Yeah.
I just recently came back. I was gone for 31 years.
Wow. And
I just moved back.
And what's the best part of living there, in your opinion?
Money. It's the richest country per capita in the world. So money is very good.
I'll tell you something now. One of my best friends lives in Holland, and I know him for 20 years. And let's say 18 years ago, when he was moving to Holland, he spent I think 1 month or 2 months in Luxembourg, trying to find his life. And he was like, "Oh my God, William, that's the right place to be."
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's beautiful. It has a beautiful architecture and all, and the money is great, but the cost of living is expensive too.
I can imagine for sure. And what do you do for a living?
I am a coach. I mean, I help people come out of trauma. I help people get sober. I help people that want to find themselves about childhood issues, if they've had dysfunctional parents or alcoholic parents or any sort of dysfunctionality in their childhood. And then basically I help them in a non-psychological way to find practical solutions to move on in their lives. And I'm an author. I wrote a book and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Through the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit about your YouTube channel, about your book as well. I'm going to ask some questions. But before we start the game, just tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting about myself. Where do I begin? I don't know. Something interesting. I am, strangely enough, so many faces of me. I mean, right now, I'm a, what do you call these animals that change colors? You know that chameleon. Exactly. That's who I am. I've had 36 different jobs. I do what I have to do to get through. I'm a survivor. I'm a fighter and a survivor. That's what I am. That's probably, I guess, the interesting part about me. Otherwise, I'm quite boring.
No, I don't think you are.
Well, I am, trust me. I think that's the point. I look, and now I have the least muscles that I've had in a long time because the gyms were closed, but otherwise I'm very boring.
I was reading a little bit about yourself, and I was like, wow, that you have everything, but I would never say that you're a boring person, that's for sure.
Well, that's interesting because you go through life, you go from step to step, but like when you look at me in life, I'm in bed at 8 o'clock, I get up at 5 or 6, I go with my dog. I'm very boring.
I don't think this is boring. I think it's just like a new lifestyle that people are now.
And I'm getting older, so yes. I'm almost 50. So it's like you get.
Okay, Alek. So welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got. Box full of random questions, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to play some music just for us to get a bit in the mood before the first question. Ready?
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Ready for the first question?
Yes.
Let's do it. Oh, good one. The first question is, what does love mean to you?
What does love to me? Wow. Love means to me now, at my age, convenience, partnership, team, togetherness, trust, and getting older together.
Oh, that's the best part. That's the best part. Do you believe that there are different kinds of love?
Absolutely. And very particularly going through age. When you're young, you're like, love means, wow, he makes me horny, and the beauty of the person is like, ugh. And then when you go on, you go, you know, maybe that wasn't love.
Yes, I think the older we get, our way of approaching love in a different way, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's not right or wrong anyway. I think when you are, as you said, when you're young, you know, you're learning about love, you are getting used to love, you are making mistakes, you're finding love in yourself, you find the reason, the meaning of love. But when you get older, it's going a different direction, you know?
And it's also like, if I'm now together with a guy for almost 10 years, and he is so not at all what I thought that I was going to love or get old with. So it's like the one thing that you can't control.
Absolutely.
You know? So.
Absolutely. It can be painful as well, I must say.
Oh yes, trust me.
This is a tattoo about love. You see, it's like a little guy, little prince, and then he has these metal things that he's schlepping there. So it kind of makes him slower to walk. And that's also love.
Absolutely. I think love is, as I said, it can be painful, but at the same time as well, it's worth taken. It's worth taken because it's a beautiful feeling. It's, you know, even though sometimes it hurts a lot, but you know, when you have, like, when it's flowing out in you, it's just like a nice feeling. It can be
anybody that loves is a masochist.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And again, you can love your parents, you can love your pets, you can love your partner, you can love, so love it, all of them, a different kind of love, but they come from a beautiful place.
That's absolutely.
Yeah. Let's go for the second question. Let's do it.
That's not fair. That's not fair to give a Western European man Brazilian music.
I'm just trying to share a little bit about my you know, where I come from, a little bit. Right. Before the next question, Alek, tell me a little bit about your book, The Loss of Self. Yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
The Loss of Self, very easily, I mean, it's being revamped now. It's going to come back out in about 4 months, calling Surviving Myself. And the loss of self was, the beginning came when I was using crystal meth, really hardcore. And I had a session and I looked at myself from in the corner of the room and I said, what am I doing here? I was abusing it already for 4 years, and that was after the death of my mother. And I said, what is the purpose of this? And so I said, and then something spoke to me, and I'm quite religious. And then something said, because you can teach others, you can show others on how to get out. Because, you know, once you use the word crystal meth, everybody's like, you know, you must be like, yeah, that's not the case. And so I wrote the book, I've published it in 2017, December. And as it says, The Loss of Self, I lost myself after the death of my mother. And basically, I became a sponge for all negativity. I couldn't protect myself anymore. I was like, come on, baby, give me the I can take it and maybe my heart goes out or whatever. And The Loss of Self is a book where I hope that some people that maybe want to kill themselves, some people that are going through crystal meth, cocaine or whatever, some addiction, are going to go, wow, Alek made it out completely alone. And not that, I took my partner out too, while other people were dying. I mean, there was 4 or 5 people in my surroundings that died. So The Loss of Self is like, it was the cheapest therapy for me. So anybody that goes through some stuff, right? And also don't think that you need to speak perfect English or write perfectly, because that's not the case. It's about writing from your soul. So for me, it was my survival, and it did quite well. And now I'm bringing it out where it's being revamped, a different picture. So it goes more commercial so I can reach more people. And it's going to be called Surviving Myself, How I Defeated My Own Destiny. So it's a very heavy book.
So the book is about your experience with drugs at the time.
And very not just that, but also it's written very like, I was, before my mother died, I was a quite successful businessman. I drove a Porsche. I was really, really well done. I had my own shops and stuff like that, as you can see. And I lost everything, hundreds of thousands of euros. And but there was a time where I had to prostitute myself. I had to become an escort. And it's like that I can say this now so easily. That was never the case, because I was very embarrassed about this, because I needed to survive. My partner and I were homeless for 3 years. Like, we had no place to go, and I was surviving just to get through. And I think the book is about telling people, talk about your pain, be real, and that's the only way you can move forward. Don't be embarrassed, because it's the embarrassment is making you even more ashamed, and then you are going to smoke again and all that stuff. So it's written very brutally honest. I mean, some people get shocked by it, but it's only through that honesty that people go, wow, okay. So.
Is written. Do you have in English as well? English version?
It's only in English. It's only English.
Oh,
right. But you cannot buy it anymore until now. In 3 months, the new version is coming on Amazon, and then you can get it there. And it's also going to be Audible. I'm going to do it all, and yeah.
It's me. So I'm going to be lucky and have one signed by you. Yay!
I'll send you a copy.
But before, okay, and tell me, when you look back, Alek, regarding your experience you had, what's the most positive thing you took out of this challenge journey you have in the past with the drugs, with what's the most positive thing you took out of this challenge journey you had?
I think that, and I've only realized that over the last 6 to 7 months, is that I'm not my past, but I used my past and this experience to do my job now. I'm now, like I said, a coach. I've made my pain into work because I'm still healing myself. So I'm attracting a lot of people that are going through some similar stuff. And I think that, to be honest, I am very lucky, I think. I'm very lucky because God, the universe, whatever, has given me so many experiences to live life. Because many years ago, I used to go, I don't know if I can deal with this, But then I said, I think God, whoever, gives you experiences to go, you can learn from this, or you can become a victim. And I chose, and I was a victim many years. I was like, oh no, poor me and whatever, until I realized, no, you've survived all of these things. Now stay and say, how can I now make this bigger than myself? How can I help others that might not have the strength, or to show up the strength is in you? So the most positive thing is that I am now so powerful that I can speak to you and say, I prostituted myself, I was homeless, and I don't have a glimpse of, no, I am proud that I am sitting here now and going, I am still alive. And not just that, I've made a whole new life for myself and my partner, and yeah, so that's probably the most positive thing.
As they say, you are your own only problem, and you are your own solution as well.
Exactly. But you have to get that click, because I think that when you come like myself, you have to always understand, why are you so dysfunctional? Why did you fall? Why did you explode like that? There's always a core, and 99% of the time it goes back to your childhood. And that's why something bad happened. And then you take this, what I call addicted to misery. So basically, let's say that you and I would meet and we will be really happy. And then let's say I'm very boring and you go, Alek is great, but he's boring. So that will be your addicted to misery, because you want someone that slaps you or does drugs or whatever. And that's what I was going through. And I needed to understand that I did not want to be addicted to misery anymore. And then I needed to change my way of thinking. That was difficult, and that still is difficult, because you need to learn that you go no longer that way, but you have to go that way. And so you have to change and then go. And that's the most challenging.
Cool. Second question, let's do it. Oh, good one. If you won the lottery, what would be your first big splurge?
Oh, that is so funny. I was talking about that to my partner this morning.
Oh, wow.
My biggest splurge is how much money?
Let's say the biggest prize. Let's say millions and millions.
The biggest prize. The first purchase that I would do would be a Rolex GMT Master 2. I'm a big watch fan, and I used to have that watch when I had lots of money. So I'd get it back. And yeah, that would be the first. And the second I have as well, but the first would be the Rolex.
The watch.
The watch. Yeah.
You get it. Let's go for another question.
Yes.
Right, next question for you is, what would be your ideal day?
My ideal day? To be honest, this is the luxury of where I'm now. Is my ideal day, I do it every day. That means I get up at 6 o'clock, most of the time, sometimes 5. I make ready for my partner who's a gardener, and then I ready my dog, and then I drive him to work, and then we stop in the forest before. We walk in the forest with my dog and him. I drive him to work, I come home, and I work for 4 hours. That's all I do in the mornings. I work on my stuff, Instagram, whatever I have to do, I have my clients, and then I take a nap. I'm an old man, so I take a lovely nap. I'm like, and I sleep like that for 20 minutes, and I'm like, up like a robot. And then I take my bike, and I take Loki, and he runs after the bike, and we play by ball. And then I come back home, and I work another hour or two, and then I pick up my partner, and that is my day, and that over and over. And at night, of course, at 6, we watch a movie together, where he always falls asleep. And that's my ideal day.
Wow, amazing, beautiful, beautiful. Another question for you.
Yes.
Okay, Alek, as you
What
are...
does mi coração mean?
Coração means heart.
Heart. Mi coração.
Yeah, coração.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, just before the next question, as you are my very first guest from Luxembourg, and so tell me something that you only can find in Luxembourg, can find anywhere else in the world, besides the money, of course.
What is something that you can find in Luxembourg that you cannot find anywhere in the world? Wow, that's difficult. Because Luxembourg we have over 52% of the people here are from everywhere. There's 179 nations. So I think that one thing that you can find here is that in such a small country, we speak 4 or 5 languages. So there's a lot of Portuguese. We have more than 30% of the population is Portuguese. And lots of Italians. You have so many people. So if you go around the corner, you hear someone speak French. Right around German, Luxembourgish, Spanish, but it's really interesting. The culture, that is really something that I have not, even in Berlin or London when I used to live there, I've never found the aspect of language to be so present as it is here. Yeah,
Very interesting.
and otherwise, I am not the biggest Luxembourg fan. So what else could you find here?
Like a local food or something, a local, I don't know, something unique.
I am the most boring eater in the world. I used to be a competitive figure skater. So I grew up being a world-class skater. So for me, it's like I eat the same thing at the same time every day. But I think something called, I don't even know what it is. No, I wouldn't know what it is. It's something that looks really ugly, so I don't want to eat it. I hope the Luxembourgish people are not watching this.
All right.
Otherwise, no, I can't...
It's just the mix of nationalities in one place.
The mix of nationalities is really amazing. I mean, you have to imagine that the city of Luxembourg, where most people live, is so small that when you go outside my house now, and I live in the city, you don't see anybody for 5 minutes. So it's very much like, like COVID, not a big problem here. And so, I don't know, it's very, but there's a certain momentum in Luxembourg, and I've lived in many countries over 31 years. It's very like almost boring, but it's almost like you go back in time, but you are in a very fast developing country. It's very kind of like, I don't know, you drive to 20 minutes and you're in Germany, it's like boom, 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 boom. And you go to France, boom, boom, and you're in Luxembourg like...
Quiet place to be, quiet place to be.
Quiet place to be, most definitely, yes.
Okay, cool, I'll take that. Next question for you is, what do you like the most in your best friends?
Oh, that is a difficult one. I, as a mongrel, a man without a nation, I've just come back 2 months ago, I don't have really best friends. So my best friend would be my partner, I have to say. So what do I like best in him? I like best in him that he is so... It's everything, I guess. It's like he's just so... He's very different and very, he can be so horrible, and at the same time, he's the sweetest man. And what I like about him that he does accept help. He's not afraid of showing that he's gay, or he's just so... He's like a little man that you have to take care of. I guess that's what it is, really. After 9 years, I could tell you many horrible things, as we like to all hear, but he's just my guy. So.
Very good. I can see a lot of hearts going out of your head, like a lot of heart.
But it's crazy because it's like what you think. It's like you think of, when you are younger, you think, I want to get old with a man with, I don't know, this. He's the total opposite. Completely opposite, where I would thought, if you tell me that I'd ever be a man with like that would be in my life, I'd be like, you must be crazy. And maybe I am crazy for sure, but that's the person that is with me.
Great. Another question for you. Let's do it. Right, before the next question, tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Oh, I just started it. I've only put up 2 videos because I'm actually, this is the thing, I'm trying to find a little bit my branding way. So this next week, what I'm going to do is I'm thinking of inviting people into my life. So not just give advice, whatever, which I do on Instagram, and you're not always just a coach. We go, yeah, let me tell you, but like, I'm not sure what my YouTube is going to be yet. I am not sure.
You still kind of find the way, the right way.
Yeah. I think it is more just simply for people to, YouTube for me was more that people could see that I am also you, that I am dealing with my stuff. Because, once you tell people you help others, then they look at you like, you must be strong and everything is perfect. But there's always 2 sides of the same coin. So.
Of course, absolutely. But my genuine advice for you about your YouTube channel, I'm a perfectionist as well, Alek, but don't, before I launched my show, I was very trying to find everything perfect, like the camera, everything. It never works like that. You're gonna find your own way. Just put it out, start it out, and you're gonna find, things gonna come, the idea is gonna come, and also the perfection is never gonna be there. And if you wait for the perfection, you're never gonna give the first step. So just when you feel like, okay, I have the camera, I have the whatever, just start it out, and you're gonna find through the process, you're gonna kind of find the way.
Learn.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what, because when I look back, I said, oh my God, and I'm still very basic, I don't have a camera, I still use my phone, I still have like a normal light, but I can see that I can see in a different way as well. And you get more professional, you find your way,
Learn by doing, I guess, isn't it? You
start developing yourself, you start learning as well, and that's the whole magic of the thing, of the journey. That's the most
of the journey. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's what it is, and because you watch too many YouTubers and you go, oh my God, that is so fabulous, and you want to be like that, but they take 1 week to do 1 video.
Absolutely.
And I don't want that. I want to be like, I make 1 video, push, and I send it. So
and just be yourself, and just put out. And people like that. People like to see, as you said before, about ideal data, the simplicity. People like that. People like to see people learning through the process. I think that's what catches people. I like to see sometimes a video where the person is being themselves, and they're just kind of doing their whatever it is. That's I think the simplicity what makes beautiful. The simplicity.
Yes, absolutely, I agree. And I'm going to find. I'm getting slower. I'm sure I'm getting to a point.
Cool. Next question for you is, what's the best gift have you ever received, and from whom?
What's the best gift I've ever received, and from whom? Wow. Okay. Recently, my sister, sadly, I do not speak to her now. We have fallen out. But she's given me a couple of months ago, she gave me a book with a bunch of pictures inside where she was writing, it was for my birthday, that I am the best brother, kind of thing. That was really a nice gift, which really touched me. And otherwise, I can't remember who else has given me gifts, but that was a very lovely gift. It took a lot of time for her to do the sticking and cutting and writing.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was a memory. It was definitely nice, yes.
Very good, very good. Great. Another question for you. Have you been in Brazil, by the way, before?
No, I haven't. No, I've made it as far as North America, but I should have gone down. No, I haven't. Sorry.
Okay, next question for you is, I think it's going to be easy, this one. Who do you count the most for help?
Who do I count? Me.
Good one. Tell me about it.
I don't ask. I don't ask. I mean, otherwise you'll be my partner that I would talk to, but I think I am a solution freak. That means I cannot sleep until I have found a solution. So it's always me. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's up to us, isn't it? It's down to us at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what you're going through in life. Of course, you're going to have people around you, but you are the one who's going to, fix it, or you're going to organize it, you're going to go through it. It's us. So at the end of the day, it's just down to us.
Absolutely. And also, I think sometimes things have gotten so complicated. I think when you have gone through a really tough years, that it's kind of like you do one click and all the others start clicking. And so you got to be careful. So before I explain all this to someone, I'm like, I know this better, so I toss myself around and figure out what's going on. So
I see. Next question, Alek. Let's do it. I think you can dance. I think you are a good dancer. I think you're.
Yeah, it's the last time in the club was 12 years ago. Okay, so a long time ago. Yeah.
Right, before the next question, tell me a little bit. So when you, being gay, you always had the support of your family, being gay?
Yes and no. I mean, I came out, I was always very open about who I was. And I was a figure skater, figure skating. It's very camp, gym sport. And my first boyfriend was the famous French director called François Ozon. He was my first boyfriend. But in those days, he was not famous. But I've written on my Invicta backpack, François. And we speak French here as well. And then my mother says, did you make a mistake? Because is it Françoise or is it François? And I said, no, it's François. And then she got really upset. And then because I never had a lot of touch with my mom. I mean, I grew up with my grandmother. And so she started blackmailing me. She made me feel really bad about being gay. So she was doing things like, because I was going to the same school as my sister, we went to a private school, and she said things like, what will they think? Will they beat your sister because of this? And I said, oh, okay. And I started thinking like, what? And I felt really guilty until one day she went too far. I called my grandparents and I said, listen, I'm gay, because she was going to tell you, but she was blackmailing me. So it was a big of a process. And I think when that happened, I said, everybody, but since then, funny enough, I don't associate too much of the gay scene, but then again, I became, if you can see on my book, I was full of muscles and lots of tattoos, so I became the cliche gay man, but I was always very monogamous, I hated open relationships. Sex is so much work for me. I'm like, like, again, because, I'm almost mostly top, and I was like, when you get older, you're like, it's too much work, I can't do this. And so I associated not very much with the gay scene, and sometimes I had big problems with being gay. But otherwise,
you yourself always.
Yeah.
Okay, next question for you is, what is the soundtrack of your life and why you consider that?
The soundtrack of my life? I Will Survive. I guess so. Yeah, is that like a one sentence answer, or what do you?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I think what I've realized over the last year, very particularly in the summer, is that when you tell, I don't know if you believe in like what you give to the universe, you get back.
Oh yes, totally.
I'm very much like that, and so I've always said. I remember in 2006 in London, I made a life coaching certification. It cost me £3,000. It was triple. And then I said, okay, now I have this piece of paper, but what am I going to do now? And so I send out to the universe this message of, I need some stuff that I can teach people. And that's when it started. My life got so complicated, like for almost 10 years of just lessons. So it was like, I was here to learn. And only last year I've made a decision, enough, I will learn, but now it's my time to give on to people and to give on what I've learned. So it's about continuation and learning, development, personal growth, a bit of madness, for sure.
Which gives a little bit of spicy for the journey. What gives a little bit of spice, you know what I mean? That's the
yes, absolutely. And also I think one thing for me is I never felt I fitted in anywhere. There were so many things that just don't, where you think sometimes, this is just too crazy. Like I'm doing actually a YouTube video now about, is it a coincidence or a causation? You know, where you go, is this really happening right now? How can this be happening? And I have so many stories that I'm like, I ran into Renée Zellweger, you know, the actress, 3 times.
Wow.
Twice in London in the same week after I just watched Bridget Jones. And the funny thing is, the same thing happened. And she looked at me, we looked at each other, I'm like, do we know each other? And then I ran into her in LA again. And then I did, you know, Star Trek, Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard. I watched that movie, fell asleep. I went in London around one of the theaters. I was living in Soho, and he was right in front of my face. And my brain was like, wait, I couldn't understand it because here was the real guy. And these things happen to me all the time.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, what is this energy? What's happening? Why? What is going on? You know? And there's so many things in my life where I'm thinking, this is too strange to be true. You know, so it's I don't know. I'm open for some stuff.
Absolutely, it's just universe connect with you, that's for sure.
But you gotta be very careful, everybody out there, when you say, I want happiness or I want love, you need to be so specific. Be very specific, because you say, if I want to learn, that does not mean that you're going to get just good lessons. You know, you're going to get whatever the universe throws your way. And so you got to be very specific. When you say, I want money, that can also be negative money. That means that you can get debts. So if you want money, you say, I would like positive money into my life. Money that makes me happy, not money that is going to make me like, who died and I got to pay his debts kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I understand. You say about the actress. I've been watching now a series on Netflix called What If? What If? It's quite popular. Very, very interesting.
I started watching it, but I was kind of, I don't know, I like bringing, like there's a movie also called Same Kind is Different as Me. It's with her. It's a very, you should watch it. It's called Same Kind of Different as Me. It's also on Netflix. It's so beautiful. And there she plays what I like. It's kind of like she plays as like an even softer, more elegant version of Bridget Jones. And, you know, and sometimes you have these characters and you go, I don't want to watch her in nudity. You know, you're like, no, I don't accept.
And she won the Oscar for Judy, for the
yeah, she did. Oh yeah, she played very well. Yeah, I watched it as well. Yeah, I like her. I think she's great. I don't care.
Yeah,
I like her.
Alek, have you enjoyed the show so far?
Great, I love it. Yeah. You can go on forever.
Let's do it. Let's get another question. Right, before the next question, tell me a little bit about your time spent in the USA. Tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, when I was 17, and I wasn't even legal to travel yet. I mean, not outside of the Europe. I had my mother, my grandmother sign me a waiver, and I went for Dallas, Texas. And you know why? Because of the show Dallas. My grandmother and I used to watch it together, and I just inherited some money from my father. And so I said, I need to leave. I hated Luxembourg. Luxembourg was bullying and boring and whatever. So I went for Dallas, Texas. My English was very minimal, very Queen's English, very proper. Do you know what I mean? Like very direct, hello, kind of like that. So I went to Texas and I was like, what are they saying? Y'all, hey, how's going on? I like y'all so very much. Kind of like that. I was like, what the fuck? But I've learned so much there because Luxembourg is like the Disneyland of the world. Like everything is great, money is great, everybody drives Mercedes. And the problem here is, I don't know, like, oh, they bought a better Mercedes than us. That's the problem here. And so in Dallas, I was like living, and then all of a sudden, because also it was very interesting for me, in those days in Luxembourg, we had no black people. So I saw, we had exchange students from Zimbabwe that came here and they were blind. And so that was my first interaction with a black person, right? Wow. And so when I went to Dallas, I was like, wow. And for me, I am so not racist. I don't care where you're from. But the friends that I had there that were white, they're like, you should not hang out with these people. And I'm like, why? Look, and I get goosebumps. And I said, why should I not hang out with them? And then they're like, because you get a bad reputation. I was like, watch. So I had 2 black boyfriends immediately just to piss them off.
Wow.
But I also saw a lot of crime, something that we did not have here. So I learned a lot about America. And Dallas was great. I stayed there for 2 years. And then I fell in love with a guy called Nikas, who was from Los Angeles. So I took my little car, drove to Los Angeles and stayed there for 2.5 years. But also I must say, I had to stay there for 3 months. Then I came back, worked for 3 months, went back for 3 months. So I kind of made it happen legally without making any problems. And I learned a lot in America. Then I think the America now is very different to the America that is from the 90s, where America was like, you have to go, you know, it's like everything's free and everybody's wearing. And now it's very like, I don't want to, like, it was still like the music grunge and Nirvana and all that stuff. And I learned, I discovered that people liked my body, which was very strange. Because, you know, when you're an athlete, you look at your body as, what can you do with your body? But all of a sudden people come to you and go, I like your ass. And I'm like, why, what? And because you're a figure skater, the ass was quite round. But I never knew this because, well, I don't see myself. There was no, you know, that's not happened. And then I was like, okay. And so I discovered that I had something people liked. That was interesting, but also the beginning of a curse.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Good memories for sure.
Yes, it was a good time.
Great. Next question for you is, Alek, what hurt your feelings?
Dishonesty. I think, and also what hurts my feelings is if you hurt your children. That makes me really angry. I think that when you have I would have loved to be a father. I've had many dogs and I would love to have children. I would have been a great father. I would have been tough, but very loving, I would give you what you need. And now look at them, the children are like, all the time. I'm like, this is not what this is for. Teach them, learn, you know, so that hurts my feelings. And dishonesty, I don't like dishonesty. Unfairness, if someone is unfair or if somebody hurts an animal, that's not good. Yeah,
I'm the same as well. I'm the same. If I see, it's funny you saying that, because if someone try to hurt me, I can deal with it. But if I see someone hurt someone vulnerable for some reason, or even animals, that's where I lost all my things, my theory, you know, I just get blind and I just, you know, go for it and trying to help or.
I completely, and also for me, I think family is pain. Family is pain, sadly, but that's what it is. And it's something that is so in here that you, after all the work that I do, you cannot get it out. You know, it's like, you are always like, I don't speak to my family anymore because I had to protect myself. But I think if my mother would now come, I mean, my grandmother died in 2009. So if my mother would come and say she loved me, I would be like, ugh, becoming the little boy. And I think this is something that we all have inside if it's not dealt with. This is where the pain sits. So that, for me, family is pain. Yeah.
And I think that's, as you said about being a father, and that's why I think you would be a very good father because of that. You would give that thing that maybe you didn't have when you were a child. So you give the double, you give the
double and triple. And also I like the fact of seeing people grow and the development and I had already in my mind, if I had a girl, what would happen if she goes on the first dates, how I treat the son, the guy, you know, I had all of this figured out, but I'm okay with it now.
I always want to be a dad as well. And I was telling my friends, if I would be a dad, I think actually I would suffer a lot as well, because I would be overprotective, and I think I would suffer. Imagine going to for the very first trip alone or something. I would be like, I'll be like suffering.
I'll be like sitting 3 rows in the back of the same plane. I'll be like.
I'm the same. I think that would be difficult for me as well. Another question, Alek. Let's do it. Before the next question, as I could see when I was reading a little bit about yourself, I could see how close you were to your grandmother.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit. You always were very close to her at the time.
Well, she was the only person that ever loved me. That means I have very straight upbringing, and I did not know my father for a long time, or they didn't want to. Because he was killed in 1979. He's actually English, and he was a high-ranking aristocrat in England. And but I was obviously some kind of affair, whatever. But he was very wealthy and blah blah blah. And my grandmother loved me very much. She was the only person that I could go to and be me. I didn't have to fight with her. Do you know, I didn't have to go, I had to go whoosh, and I could sleep and stuff. And she was a wonderful, beautiful woman. She had a lot of problems. She had come from Second World War and she had lots of complexes. She was very much like, when she was dressing sometimes, and I'm like, you know, in those 80s when they had the jeans that was kind of like the whatever. So she was quite of a corpulent woman. So she had a uniform from top to bottom in jeans. And you know, my face is quite expressive. And then she came in, she goes, do you like? And I'm like, she goes, and you know, the problem was she had so many complexes about her body that I did not want to show her that she did not look good. She looked so beautiful. And I was like, no, you look great. Then we went outside, people were looking at her. I'm like, what are you looking at? So I was very protective and she was very strong. And when she died in 2009, it's very strange because when she died on her deathbed, and I believe in this, it was 2-3 days before, and she looked really bad. She was having cancer. And so I said, take my hand and take life from me so that you can live more. She took my hand, and I'm getting goosebumps, and she grabbed me and I could feel my energy leaving. And after 10 seconds, I had to take her hand off because she drained me of something. Wow. She took energy from me, and it was very strange because it's almost then that I realized that something was gone. Like she took something from her. Yeah, with her. And only 3 years later, when I had a dream about her, where she said, please let go. Because I attracted a man in my life the same weekend that she died. And because we are Catholic, I thought maybe this is what she brings into my life because I was alone. And this man was, he was drugs, and I didn't do drugs in those days. He was everything that I didn't want to be. And I didn't want to leave him because if I left him, I would accept that she was dead. Do you understand? And it took 3 years, and my grandmother was very powerful and yet so weak. She was just grandma. Boma, as we say here. Boma, yeah.
Very good, very good. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Next question for you is, what 3 things do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, 3 things that I want to be remembered for. 3 things wow, that's good questions, mate. Good questions. I think I want to be remembered for being different. But not like, I gotta go this way because you're going that way. But just for I said what I said. I did what I said I would do. For my integrity, for my madness. I wouldn't mind that people go, you know what, he was a bit mad, but not crazy. But Alek was mad. But I think the most important thing would be where people say, you know what, he was just Alek. He did his things. He didn't hurt people. I hope I didn't. I'm sure I hurt plenty of people because you just hurt people sometimes. But I would like people to say, you know what, I can tell you a story about Alek.
That's amazing.
I think that's what I like. If it's a good story or bad story, I don't care. But something like that. Those, yeah. I think
very
that's
good.
that.
Very good.
That's a really good, I like that. It's very kind of coaching in a way. I like it the way you do it. Very good.
Magic box. The magic box make you go through a very beautiful journey into your life. That's what I like the most about the show. Is just the questions just make you think and remember things in life, and sometimes go in a place as well where we haven't touched for a while because it's hurtful. So yeah, that's the whole aim of the game. That's the whole thing.
That's
right,
good.
Alek, I have 3 questions left for you. Okay, let's do it. Okay, a good one. Who has been the most influential person in your life and why?
Okay. There's a skater called Katarina Witt. You have heard of her? She's a 2-time Olympic champion. She's the most famous skater in the world. So for me, as a former skater, she was very important. And then, the Golden Girls?
Yeah?
Yes. There was Blanche. You remember Blanche?
I haven't watched, but I know
Blanche was the sexy one. She was always very slutty and stuff. And I have lots of stories with her. And the fact was, I love the Golden Girls. And then she and I, in the real life, had the same birthday. And because I watched the Golden Girls so much when I was young, I remember I was once an Ibiza, and this is not a compliment. A guy said to me, you know, Alek, you're really sexy, but somehow you remind me too much of Blanche. Meanwhile, I was like, so, you know, so it's like, you know, it's like, so I was like, and then I realized, you know what? You're not a woman, you're a man. I mean, not a problem if you want to be a woman, but actually I like being a man. So I thought, maybe you should not watch that much. Because, you know, when you watch something all the time, you kind of take on the maneuvers. And
that's like, for sure, yeah.
And, you know, and so they influenced me a lot. I mean, indirectly, because I've never looked for influence somewhere. But it was definitely those two women, strangely enough. There was no man.
That's why you are very masculine, because of that, just to kind of, you know, to cross it a bit.
That took a lot of work.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, Alek, 2 questions left.
Okay.
Okay, before the next question, tell me what's the best part of being a coach and the most challenging part, in your opinion?
Oh, okay. Well, first, for me, that word coach is a bit where I'm thinking, I don't know if I like it. So I'm calling myself coaching buddy.
Okay.
Because it's more like, it's kind of like, for me,
down to earth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's also not like, here are 10 steps how you can follow, how you can make this. No. I think the challenge for me is to not go too deep into psychology, because I have no psychology degree and I don't want to whatever. But it's, I love it because I am getting to also heal by helping others. So this for me really works. I've seen this lately. And, but I also, the challenging part is I get a lot of people, everybody always cries. So I'm like, no, because I have some, I don't know, I mean, I think that once you have been hurt, you can see other people that have been hurt. There's hurt and there's hurt, you know what I mean? Yep. There is a certain, like, you can see with people that have mother issues, where the mother was not there for them. You can see something in their eyes. There's something there, and we can hide it, but you can see it. Mm-hmm. So the challenging part, so far not too much, but it's more about, I don't want to hurt anybody, but my approach is I am being radically honest. Like to give you an idea, we in society now, we want to have everything, but we don't want to do, most people don't want to do anything for you. It's like, give me an iPhone, and I'm like, okay, go wash my house. No, I want an iPhone, kind of like that. So I think the thing is that if you want to get away from drugs, or like I'm very honest, I have no sex anymore for many years now. And I had to make a decision in 2016 because my smoking of crystal meth was aligned with my sexuality, you know? So I had to make a decision afterwards. It's okay, I can still have sex sober, but it's just, you know, it's just not the same. And so I thought, you know what, now what you have to do is either choose crystal meth or sex or your health. So we had to get rid of that. And a lot of people don't want to make that sacrifice. You know, I've also used to take a lot of steroids, you know, and then when you take a steroid, you get more horny, which then makes you want more sex. So you take more crystal meth. So it's all like in a loop and it goes around. So you have to make a decision and say, listen, what is the most important? And you have to sacrifice. And I think a lot of people, when I get them to a point where I'm going to go, all right, I've taken you as far as I can. And now you have to be courageous and make the decision. And if they cannot make that, I cannot force them, you know? So it's, the great thing is that I help people. I really can see the change in people where they go, I've gone to therapy for 4 years, Alek, and we had 3 sessions and I realized it. You know, because I think the good thing with me is I don't coach anything I don't know. It's only I coach what I've learned. you know, like the hard way. So exactly, it's only from experience only. So there's no technique, there's nothing. I listen to you, we connect. Most of the time it's on the phone without video. So I want to hear the voice, you know, the cracking, and then I help people, and that is amazing. To really help people where they go, do you know what, Alek? I've just realized that I am treating my son or my husband like I was treated by my mother. And that's good because people can see themselves in me because I'm so honest. Because, you know, it's like a lot of coaches are coaches because they have a degree, you know, certificate, blah, blah, blah. And that's all good. I have that too. But I have actually, as they say in life coach, I've gathered the life experience. And I teach. I coach only from that.
And as you said, it's very interesting, Alek, because as you said, you've got the experience and for sure you can put yourself in their shoes as well. So that's what they appreciate as well, because somehow, of course, you have the theory, you have the degree, but when you've been through the situation, it's easier to pass the message and it's easier for them to get the message as well.
Well, I think like recently, a neighbor here is having a son who is doing drugs. And then they go, yeah, we went to this house, and house says, listen, if you're young and somebody comes to you and says, you should not do this because it's going to do this and that, they go, blah, blah, blah. But if somebody like me, where they read my CV, which is very fast to be read, that's why it's there, they go, wow, he's so honest with it. But I will also, because I do also go to schools, I do seminars for schools, where I never tell anybody what to do. You need to do what you need to do, you know, if whatever, and so do I. But it's about being awareness, and because I don't tell people what to do, but I say to them, like, honestly, do whatever you want. But I would always say, whoever starts crystal meth will never end it. It's in your life forever. And even a strong person like me, I have cravings 2 or 3 times a week, and I got to keep myself going. And so we all have to find our balance. And because I speak so openly, people go, okay, but also you got to make them sure that there are certain things that you will let go in life, that you will sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And once when people understand that through a life that you explain, they go, wow, okay. So,
yeah, great, I understand. Next question for you.
And the last one.
No, the last one yet. No, the last one. I've got 2 left. Let's go.
Okay,
Alek, tell us a funny story or a moment that happened to you when you were a child at school.
In child at school, can I be about 16, 17?
Yes, of course.
Does it have to be in school?
No, college or it's like a fun story.
I have an amazing story. It was in London, and I was invited by the UK team to train with them. And when you're from Luxembourg, I was the national champion here and blah, blah, blah. Then I went there and I was like, these people there's some very good men. I was like, and so we only had 2 hours in the morning to train. So in the evening, I went to Queensway, you know, Queen's Ice Rink, went skating in the evening in public. And you know, when you are a skater and you're good, you're like, this is my kingdom. Yes. Yeah. And so imagine that I come in the entrance, I walk around, I stretch, you know, do whatever I need to do. It takes 10 minutes, put my skates on, and I go on the ice. And I thought, it's very empty here. I was like, And then I hear this woman, she goes, get off the ice, get off the ice. And I'm looking at her like, do you know who I am, kind of thing, you know, like very diva. And I'm like, skating. And then she goes, get off the ice. And then I go to her and I'm like, what exactly are you telling me? She goes, I am doing my program. And I'm like, you're doing your program? And then I'm like, judges, public, and it was a senior citizen competition. And then I remember in my head, my sports psychologist said, don't let them see your pain. So I'm like, getting off the ice, people are like, boo, boo. And I'm like, take my skates off in peace, put them back, walk, people like, boo. So then I go home, I'm like, oh my God. The next morning, my coach goes, tell me, Alek, where were you last night? That was the most embarrassing and cutest story. But the poor woman, you know, she trained a whole year to skate, and I'm coming to her ice and interrupt her skating.
Oh, I didn't know, at least. You didn't know.
Oh, and I wish I would love, I mean, she's probably dead now. This is many years ago and she was already old, but I wish I could have gone to her and go, I am so sorry. I will train you for free for like 6 years.
Somehow she's gonna see this interview in the universe and she's gonna appreciate that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, thank you for sharing. Ready for the last one? Let's do it, Alek from Luxembourg. Let's do it. Okay, Alek, before the last question, I was reading your profile and I saw a phrase say, leave your pre-programming in the past. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about it, this phrase.
It's very simple. I am a big believer, and there is actually a beautiful, for everybody out there, a series on Netflix called Babies. And it's amazing. It talks now so much more about documented effects that happen to us as a child. And a pre-programming means that, let's say that, like in my case, I was given up by my mother right after birth. So when a baby doesn't have the cuddling and the security, what happens is, and this is proven now, the baby doesn't live life, but it survives life. And this goes into adulthood, and I am a survivor. I'm always like, when we come in here, when I first moved, I was like, what happens if somebody breaks in? How can I get out? Like, how can I save my people? Like, everything. So that is still in me. And a pre-programming means that, let's say that you have a crazy Catholic mom or a crazy Jewish mom or whatever, and they tell you this, and you take this on because you live their belief system. Sometimes it gets good, but sometimes you have drug problems, the mothers, or you have really physically abusive parents, or you see them beating, the mother, so you grow up thinking it's normal to beat someone. And that's called pre-programming. And it's very difficult to change that, because it's basically saying, to give you an idea, I dated 5 men over 18 years that were clones of my mother. Their behavior was like my mother, and you know why? Because I wanted to finish the wounds in my childhood. So automatically, without me going, hey, let me get a man that looks like my mother or that whatever, but automatically your brain, because your brain wants to protect you, it wants to find solutions. And so you one of a sudden go, wow, all my boyfriends were like my mother. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, no wonder that it was. And that's when you learn, and that's the pre-programming, you know, where if I say to you now, like a lot of people always go, everything is possible. And, you know, or I tell my child everything is possible. I wouldn't do that. I would say, find out what you're good at, try, but be realistic, and you understand that there are limitations out there. And, you know, you make the person more realistic and make them look at what they matter and take the money away and go, don't do it for the money. Do it because you love it, and then sometimes money will follow. I believe in that very much. This is what I'm doing now with this. Absolutely. And so the pre-programming is basically everything that you were taught by your parents, and that if you were lucky, which so many are not anymore, sadly, but if you were lucky, then you don't need to change your pre-programming. But if you are unlucky, like myself, I don't know about you, then you have to get rid of it because it's a dark force in your life, you know? So that's the pre-programming.
Very good. Thanks for clarifying that. Good. Right. Next question is the last one. What is your favorite weekend activity?
My favorite weekend activity, oh my God, I'm going to be so boring. Watching and binging ice cream and Netflix. I've gained so much weight in this COVID. I'm now training so hard to get rid of it. And trust me, when you're close to 50, you're like, it's so much more difficult. But...
Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, the quick thinking game, okay? So I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
Let's start with family.
Pain.
Money.
Not too much.
Love.
Balance.
Life.
Challenging.
Sex.
0. What is that?
Politics.
Intriguing.
Okay, I like this. Religion.
Misunderstood.
Ooh. Fear.
Exhausting.
Friendship.
Almost not too much value.
Okay.
I've never had lots of friends.
Okay. Regrets.
2.
Okay. Desire.
Desire. Seconds.
Success.
Overrated.
Happiness.
Happiness. Happiness is a myth.
Okay. Wish.
Many.
God.
My constant partner.
Wow. And the last one now, Luxembourg. One word.
Boring. That's right.
Funny, I was expecting
Yeah,
that.
we'll take my citizenship away.
I was expecting that. Don't worry. Right, so let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely partner for a cup of tea, and I'm going to ask him, tell me the most beautiful thing about Alek, and tell me something that he needs to improve on. What do you think your partner will tell me?
The most beautiful thing that he'll say is he's been protecting me for 10 years. That he will say. And what was the second thing? What he has to be...
Something that you need to improve on.
Oh, I need to control my temper.
Interesting.
I put my hair up right now so you don't see them.
It's hidden.
I think I have very southern blood in me. So.
Right. Okay, let's play now. Alek and the magic box, and you can ask me a question, okay? Again?
Let's dance out of rhythm.
Yes, that's the magic.
Right, are you ready?
Okay, you can ask me a question now. I'm ready.
Okay, so I would like to know from you, why exactly are you doing this? What's the goal?
Right, beautiful question. I think this, let's say this, I could call this beautiful journey in my life, which started last year. It's something, Alek, that I always wanted to do. That's something that I always was looking for. Something that I was looking, my passion. Something. When I see people saying, "Oh my God, I have the job of my life. I do what I meant to. I was born to do it." So, and I always been wondering in my life. I said, "My God." I was asking this question to myself like a lot. What is your passion? What you meant to be to this world, this life? And I never had an answer for, but I knew it. One day I would come. One day I would find my path. One day I would find my journey in life that I would wake up every day like thinking about, would go to bed thinking about, and I would enjoy. And what I'm doing right now is the fact that I can connect with people worldwide, with people, so many interesting people like you. People have a lot to share. I believe that people around the globe, it doesn't matter where you are, where you live, how being raised, but I think everyone has a story to tell and something interesting as well. I think all of us, we are so fortunate to be in this life. I think we came to this life for a reason, to share, to teach, to learn, to be a better person, to everything, and I think that I think this platform, this idea, that I'm so grateful that this idea came to me last year. I went for a run in the park, and literally I was running, and suddenly I was like, oh my God, I literally, I remember exactly the place where I was because it was so powerful. I even have goosebumps now talking about, because it was so powerful that I remember I was in the park. I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do for life. I think this, what I'm doing now, is an opportunity for people worldwide share their experience in life, share their point of views, and they are not right or wrong. It's just different point of views. People, I've been receiving a lot of testimonials, feedback from people around the globe, and they are so genuine, and sometimes make me cry, because I feel so fortunate that people even don't know me well, and they just share so much, like the experience they are having during the show. And I think that's the whole part of the show, is just to have a good time, you know, just to...
And you did, and it's also because it's very much you. I think that you bring a lot of energy to this, and not everybody can do it. I think you have a great concept here. I mean, I was actually thinking for myself over the last couple of months, because I'm thinking of the branding, you know, what can you do? And I thought to do something similar, but in a different way, to ask questions about, you know, like the happiness factor of your life and what's really happening in your life. Like, are you lying to kind of like a small coaching thing that takes 15 minutes per person and just, you know, kind of like that. But I haven't really figured it out. But your concept is you could try to sell this to television. I think it's really interesting. And I think it's if you continue creating and you continue this good environment and you can help others, I think that's really where it all comes from, you know. And if you can make it a business, better. I mean, you know. But
right, Alek, did you have a good time?
Yes, I did. I very, very much. I enjoyed it very much. Thank
you so much. Thanks for taking the time to share the experience with me. Thanks so much for being yourself. My God, and thanks for sharing so much in your life. I could be another 2 hours here just sharing. Before you go, would you mind to share a quote, please?
It's a very powerful quote that I read to myself every day. It's always keep in mind that feelings aren't real. They are your cravings and patterns pushing you to repeat bad habits. And that's, of course, for people that might have a substance abuse, but even for people that have dysfunctional issues or something like that, if you tell yourself your feelings aren't real, they are in here, and they are just your patterns, you know, pushing you to repeat bad habits. So this is one really good quote that really has helped me to stay sober and to make better decisions.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alek. It was a pleasure. We are connected now. Now it's done.
Thank you so much for coming into my life. You're a great positive energy.
The pleasure was mine. Take care, okay? Enjoy your weekend and we keep in touch.
Yes, we will. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.